Okay, I think that we're live. I got on a few minutes early just to test our connection. And I believe I've enabled the capability that if you make a comment, I should be able to see it. So if anyone wants to test that out, let me see. I just made a test message in our chat that should show up over our YouTube and Facebook channel. And it'll say from Restream because that's the tool that I'm using. Okay. All right. So, Andrea just said hello. There we go. Wow, y'all. If you have been with us on this journey, you know that I've spent the last few months trying to teach myself how to live stream. So welcome to my learning journey. My name is Lauren Postler, and I am the president of People for Liberty, and very proud to share with you tonight the strategic plan that we have been working so hard and fast and furiously to produce, looking ahead to 2021 and 2022. We launched this year in about May or June, right when the election cycle was kind of getting heated. And it was a grand experiment. I'll walk you through tonight how we got started, where we are today, and where we hope to grow. But a lot of these last few months has been testing the waters, getting to know you, the people with whom we're engaging, getting to know what you're looking for and what you need out of an organization that seeks to support your efforts. So a huge thank you to everyone who has participated, who has joined one of our 16 plus Facebook groups now, who has tuned into one of our live stream events. We had a phenomenal event for Women's Equality Day. Larry Sharp was a featured guest, and Vermin Supreme, Ashley Shade from Outright Libertarians, Kate Prather and the Women from Texas LP, Casey Daly from Let Her Speak. We had such a great slate of guests for that event that it told us we were on the right track. It told us that people were looking for more opportunities beyond the traditional channels. I'll say that I'm fairly new to the Libertarian Party. So this was a big learning experience for me as a former Republican, and there are a lot of us. It was a matter of understanding, where do I fit in and where do I go? And how do I learn about the party and the principles, and how do I participate in a way that's meaningful for me? And what I found was, and I'm sure that many of you may feel the same way, I didn't really find a place that I fit, as I wasn't running a campaign, as I wasn't directly supporting one candidate. And that may just be because we are in the midst of an election cycle. But I also knew that if I wanted to dedicate myself to a cause, I didn't just want it to be every 4 years. I wanted to be involved at the ground level from day one, year round. And I know from my experience fundraising for Republican candidates that the best campaigns are won in the off season, and that laying the foundation for sustained growth has to start the day after that election ends. So we're looking ahead to the midterms in 2022. We're looking ahead to the next federal election cycle in 2024. But in the meantime, there's the opportunity for engagement, there's the opportunity to grow a community, and really to contribute to a culture that is diverse, inclusive, and welcoming. Because I don't know about y'all, but I found it pretty scary when I got here. And I found it pretty divisive. And I think there's room for everyone. So if you feel the same way, we hope that you'll consider working with us. We hope you'll consider joining and engaging, participating in the groups, or finding ways that make sense for you. Because I think there's a place for everyone within the Libertarian Party, within the Liberty Movement, if you're not ready to make a commitment, Or if you're liberty curious and just want to learn, as I did early on, we're here for that too. So let me see if I can share my screen with you all, and we'll go through this strategic plan together. So, People for Liberty, who we are, what we do, why it matters, and how you can help. Again, what we found early on was that libertarians were seeking community and support. I think that the Libertarian Party does a phenomenal job contributing to thought leadership. There are phenomenal think tanks and Reason Magazine and the Cato Institute and organizations that are really contributing to policy efforts and white papers and articles and the intellectual and academic side of our party and principles. What we didn't see was enough of the feel good. And so we're seeking to help support the existing efforts, not recreate. The LP does a phenomenal job. The LNC does a phenomenal job. LP Action, I think, is a phenomenal online resource. We want to support and fill in the gaps. So we're hoping to contribute with an ecosystem of advocates, ambassadors, and influencers who will carry the message of liberty to their communities and further strengthen the foundation necessary for sustained growth in the Libertarian Party. This includes support for grassroots leaders with an incubator and accelerator program for their projects, access to fundraising, and additional education and training. We found there were plenty of people doing amazing things. The Let Her Speak campaign is a great example. They just needed the opportunity to do what they do best without another big bloated bureaucracy. So there are some ways we determined that we can help support those grassroots efforts while letting them do their own thing, letting them be in charge, letting them be the boss, because they were already doing it and they were doing it well. But there are a few pieces like fundraising where we knew we could be of support, and we want to explore and grow that further. And with all of that, learning and engaging with our community, we hope to be able to collect data to contribute to public relations, advertising, media, and digital marketing campaigns. Our mission is to engage people, embrace principles, and effect change. We are a hybrid organization. We do have two distinct legal entities, and both are focused on empowering people to take action in the political process and reclaim the liberty promised by our forefathers. So what does that really mean we do? Well, we're a collective of liberty-minded people. We are not the official Libertarian Party. We are not the Libertarian National Committee. We are our own organization and designed to be led by you, the people. So again, focused on education and advocacy, building an engaged community, and contributing to a diverse, inclusive, and welcoming culture that invites others to become a part of the liberty movement. So I mentioned the two distinct legal entities, but there's one piece of that wheel that brings it all together. So our nonprofit, the 501c4, is dedicated to education, engaging people, facilitating the development of more grassroots leaders. The Super PAC, which is an independent expenditure-only committee, will be dedicated to raising capital for and awareness of the Libertarian Party candidates and cause. Specifically, we have established it as a federal Super PAC, which we saw within the Libertarian Party. Federal Super PACs had only cropped up around specific candidates. Gary Johnson had a great federal PAC while he was running, but there didn't seem to be one running in the background and in the off season. And we know that in order to win campaigns, you can't start over every 4 years. You have to be working constantly in the background. There are some great issue-based PACs operating within the Libertarian Party. The Legalization Initiative has some great efforts. There are also some caucus-driven PACs. I believe the Mises Caucus has their own PAC. There's also a state booster PAC for state candidates, but there isn't any supporting federal. We hope to fill that gap. And bringing it all together, the nonprofit, and the super PAC, is an online platform dedicated to advocacy. This content hub and marketplace, we want to stimulate the free market wherever we can, folks, is designed for content creators and the curious to explore and engage with the libertarian principles and people. So let's talk about the nonprofit a little bit, because this is where most of you have likely engaged with us as part of our Facebook groups. We have a three-prong approach here: supporting grassroots efforts, building an engaged community, and then nonpartisan campaigns for public relations. Our current groups, and I think you can probably tell where the graphic designers helped with this deck and where I did it myself, so please forgive me. But some of our current groups are listed here: 2A, or Second Amendment Supporters for Liberty, Republicans for Liberty, Christian Voters, LGBT+, Voters with Disabilities, Educators, Independent Voters, Black Voters, Latinos, Democrats, Military Supporters, Native Americans, Bernie Brothers, and the list can grow and ad infinitum. So we see a lot of future opportunities, but we wanted to first make sure that we had a good process in place for sustained growth and scalability. Other groups that weren't started by us, but whom we support, include, again, the Let Her Speak movement, Why I Support Jo Jorgensen. There have been a number of phenomenal groups that have started with whom we interact and support one another. So how do these groups lead to building an engaged community? Again, we're currently running these Facebook peer groups. They were formerly, XYZ for Jo Jorgensen. We've transitioned them all to XYZ for Liberty now to ensure continuation. And this is part of developing a lifestyle brand around the liberty movement and principles. Because guess what? I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to talk about politics all of the time. Instead, we want to talk about how we're living for liberty. People are burnt out on the election, but there are ways that we can engage with the movement still and educate others, our friends and our family, when we talk about how the liberty movement and the principles inform our choices, how we educate our children, where we choose to live, how we advance our businesses. We are living the principles in our daily lives, and we hope to support and grow that effort. This will include a video series, podcast, and online magazine, and activating you as brand ambassadors and influencers to deliver user-generated content, or UGC, which keeps people engaged and excited, but not burnt out. So we're very excited about this, still in the early stages, but the first effort is an online magazine. Now, this is a mock-up from our wonderful Director of Digital Content, Michaela Velarde, but we just had the opportunity to talk to Dr. Jo Jorgensen herself at the election recap party here in Texas, and she's agreed to be on the cover of our inaugural issue, so stay tuned. We are also going to be interviewing potential contributors for regular columns and series, including videos and podcasts to supplement issues. So if you think this is something you are interested in, we want to talk. And then what do we mean by supporting grassroots efforts and entrepreneurs? What are the actual tactics for those already doing the work, both leading grassroots initiatives for advocacy and liberty-minded small businesses? Well, if you are a part of the startup community, you're aware of programming that is developed directly to support new businesses and new ideas, and that's an incubator and accelerator model. These models offer coaching, potentially office space, funding, networking, and strategy support for new ideas and new businesses. Specifically for People for Liberty, or PFL, what does that look like? Investment. Again, we want to serve as a fiscal sponsor for projects so that they can fundraise and also set aside a fund with contributions from donors that we can help empower your projects. We see pitch competitions in the future and grant applications. We want to fund your efforts. We also want to help contribute to mentorship and peer-to-peer coaching. There are some amazing leaders in the Liberty movement, and we want to connect y'all. Office space, we have some great connections starting here in Houston, Texas, that we're going to pilot the opportunity. For example, I have relationships at WeWork, at the Canon Houston, and others here that we're going to explore that opportunity with. Obviously, during COVID, that's not as necessary, but we hope in the future it will be. Additional training for grassroots leaders and volunteer management curriculum. This would complement the LP Action and LP.org. They are already running some great programs to help support those running for office. But what if you're not running for office? What if you're not running a campaign? We want to make sure that we're serving you, the other leaders who have something to contribute to the movement. So, complementary programming. Others include in-kind sponsorship, access to networking events, product or service development support, and we're open to your ideas. Some of the grassroots campaigns that we supported and look forward to supporting in the future, again, included Let Her Speak. We're looking forward to transitioning that to Let Us Speak, with an eye towards ballot access initiatives, overcoming voter suppression, and other ways to ensure that our candidates, us, are able to participate in debates and speak and have our voices heard. The Bud boycott, I think, is another wonderful example that we're excited to support. And stop voter bullying. Again, that third prong approach, bringing it all together. Our online advocacy platform, again, designed for content creators and the curious, inclusive of a free market and opportunities for e-commerce. We are currently in ideation, and we've talked to MeWe, and I'll share this here. I don't want to pick just one social networking platform. People are finding their own homes. People are going to MeWe, people are going to Parler, people are, developing their sites on Patreon. We want to be inclusive of all of those social networking hubs. So we're looking at a way to bring it together. So in your profile on our new platform, we will give you the opportunity to have links to all of your social media. Guess what? Y'all don't have to keep making posts about follow me on my new account, or find me on Instagram, or subscribe to my podcast. This will be all inclusive in your new profile on the platform. And I'm really hoping we can figure out a way to do a mass subscribe for people, but we'll see what our developers say. You'll see there's geolocating as well, so you can connect with people in your area. Media Center, I think this is an example of the event page. Job Center, if you are looking for work, we want you to be able to network in the Liberty movement and community. There's an example of the messaging app there as well. Projects and startups. If you need to collaborate, maybe you've got a project that you're working on in your county and you want to collaborate with the team members from your state or county affiliate. We're providing space here to collaborate, share files, and work inclusive within the platform, so you're not trying to share data and going here and here and here. And yes, it does have integration for Microsoft and for Google. I'm a big Google Docs person, so there's integrations for everything. And for those of you concerned about privacy, we'll have very clear data privacy settings in place, and we'll be able to answer all of those questions as well. I think we have an example of one of our group pages here too. But what can we accomplish with access to all of this data? By gathering insights on the addressable market and beginning to segment voters by geographic location in their conversations, we can build specific campaigns to speak to and gather specific insights into what kind of individuals make up the Libertarian Party and increase the viability of the party's future. We know that better marketing will change the course of campaigns. And in order to do that, we need to understand our audience. And guess what? Market research is really expensive. And while the two big parties can do that year round, we want to offer you the chance to voluntarily share your info. Again, this is part of our pledge to privacy and respect, that you own your data. So we will offer you the chance to opt in to these market research opportunities to help inform our marketing efforts. So our current reach, where are we gathering data currently? How are we engaging with people? There's some data here to give kind of a big picture snapshot. Across all of our groups and channels, we've been able to reach over 35,000 people since our launch in June and July. That's pretty good, y'all. If you're interested in data, we have some great analytics set up that we're using to track. You'll see the shows post reach, 27,000 people, impressions and reach. So we're doing our best to track every little thing so we can understand, what do you like? What do you want to engage with? How can we better provide data, information, and engaging posts that you want to see? And the Super PAC, tying all the pieces together. Our goal is to set the stage for marketing and advertising success with the 501c4 nonprofit and online content hub to build engagement with our audience, create a path and process for ongoing market research, as I mentioned, and then a pipeline for sharing curated content and an army of brand advocates and influencers, that's y'all, to elevate it. And I've been working in this field for a long time, y'all. I've been in fundraising and digital marketing and public policy for almost 20 years now. This is the future of super PACs. The future of super PACs will include collecting and deploying user-generated content and influencer strategies as the reliance on mainstream media decreases, especially among liberty-minded audiences. We believe we can be at the forefront of this new wave, anticipating and creating the future instead of desperately trying to play catch up as we have in the past. So what does that mean? Well, we're currently seeking board and advisory board members for the nonprofit. Maybe that's you. We'll also outline some volunteer opportunities as well. We're interested in experienced entrepreneurs with experience launching and scaling tech-enabled projects, and community leaders who are skilled at consensus building and who have thought leadership to offer. Again, we see this as the future of political movements, and we want to really build a diverse and inclusive team of leaders with a variety of skills who believe in the vision and can help bring it to life. Again, here's where, obviously this was my slide and not the graphic designers, but what do some of those volunteer opportunities look like? Group leadership. We currently have a slate of wonderful admins and moderators, but we're actually developing that pipeline and infrastructure to include community managers. And for some of those larger groups, launching local chapters for geographic areas so people can start connecting in person when the pandemic permits. Again, the online magazine, Living for Liberty, videos, podcasts, blogs. David Howman, one of our wonderful board members, is really excited about developing a newsletter, aggregating content from other organizations. Because as he said, he has to go hunt for information about who's doing what in the Liberty movement. He wants to bring it all together, which I love. We're also excited to be working with a team to develop social and emotional learning content. I just had a great conversation with Al Jameson and some wonderful volunteers who want us to build out series to help, again, supplement basic training on how to run a campaign, how to develop, marketing messaging. What are the other pieces of the puzzle that we can help support the Liberty movement? So if you're interested, please email us at volunteers@People4Liberty. Again, my name is Lauren Postler. Let me show you. There's my pretty face. Not so pretty, but we want to engage with you. And I want to also highlight some of the wonderful people who have helped us get to where we are today. So that's how you get involved. And now I'd like to take a minute to say thank you to those who helped get us here. The original grassroots team, Liz Coleman, Elliot Sherman, Casey Daly, Stephanie Diaz, Ryan Thompson. Not pictured is Jennifer McAfee. She's no longer on Facebook, but if you are friends with any of these amazing, amazing leaders and advocates, please reach out and tell them thank you. They all have their own initiatives that they're now pursuing. Liz has stopped voter bullying, the Bud boycott. Elliot Sherman, as you all may know, is one of our candidates here in Texas. Casey Daly, I believe, is taking leadership positions at her county. Stephanie Diaz has the grassroots supporters group, which is phenomenal. Ryan Thompson, I think, is leading that dank memes effort and looking for other ways to support. But these are some of the OGs, the people who saw the opportunity and the vision. And I really, really want to give a shout out to Liz Coleman, who invited me to first moderate a group. And I'll say this, she asked if I wanted to moderate both women voters and Democrats. And I said, well, I've been a Republican for 20 plus years, so that might not be a good fit. But she knew that there was an opportunity to engage with people in a way that wasn't currently being done. And I really, really appreciate her thought leadership and getting the ball rolling. Current leadership includes me. I'm serving as our president of the board of directors. Matt Martin is serving as our vice president. David Howman has been very active on the board as well, and I'm excited to see where he grows in his leadership. Andrea Lee and John Novello just moved up to community manager positions. And Michaela Velarde is our phenomenal director of digital content. Yusra, I don't have on this screen, but we're looking forward to introducing y'all to her as well. She contributes to our data analytics. So if you're friends with any of these people, including me, reach out and say hi, say thank you, ask questions, find out how you can get involved. Our group admins and moderators, I do want to go through and say thank you to each of these individuals. So Tabby Ann, Alex Metcalf, Joe Special, Britt, Brianna, Adrian, Michelle, Jamie, Aaron, Amanda, Danielle, Tiffany, Penny, Jeff, Jared, Richard, Nicole, Abby, Stacy, Lupe, Ray, King, Scott, Antonio, Sarah. Special thanks to Sarah, who got our Instagram account started and helped us to conceptualize what some visual engagement and advocacy might look like. Denise Draper, who early on helped us create some of the initial engagement for the groups. Brandy Lynn Cox, who thought maybe she wanted to be part of the Super PAC effort. She saw that opportunity as well. I believe she did a phenomenal job leading the Facebook group for the Jo Jorgensen campaign. So if you're friends, give Brandy Lynn a shout out. Sean Sparkman, who volunteered to help us launch the Let Her Speak website. Thank you so much, Sean, for coming back afterwards and helping us tweak. James Doyle, who's one of our newest group admins and moderators with the military group. Missy, Zach, and not pictured is Leonte, who I think recently got off Facebook, but was our original community manager and did such a wonderful job getting people engaged. So if you are friends with or know any of these amazing people, tell them thanks. They put in their heart and soul into some of these efforts, and without them, we would not have been able to reach 35,000 people in such a short amount of time, and we would not be looking ahead to an incredible future of growth and engagement, hopefully with your help. So again, my name is Lauren Postler, and I am grateful to be of service to you, members of the Liberty Movement, and I'm here to help you realize your visions. That's what we're here for. You have great ideas. How can we help you execute? So if you're interested in being a part of the effort, please reach out to me, reach out to Matt, Andrea, John, David, but also send us an email, again, at volunteers@peopleforliberty.org, and stay engaged. Share with your friends. After this video concludes, if you know someone who was interested but couldn't tune in, share the link, and let's continue the conversation. It's over these next few months, November and December, that we're going to be finalizing our leadership teams so that we can launch strong in January with 2021 in our headlights. So thank you all for tuning in, and I hope to hear from you. Have a great night.